things that I track in my life that bring me abundance and make me feel more purposeful. That's what I'm sharing in this video. These are things that you may be overlooking, but when I track them, I feel more joyful, attract more clients in my business, make more money in my business, and feel also much more creative. Stay tuned. This is Heza Bojona and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, I'm so glad you are here. On this channel, I share energy principles, I share energy practices, tapping into your own bioenergy, tapping into cosmic energy, tapping into practical things that you can do to manifest more joy, more love, more money, more abundance in your life and in your business. If that sounds exciting to you, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you know when I post new videos. Here we go. So the first thing that I track in my life now that makes a big difference when it comes to manifestation, when it comes to intentional creation, when it comes to even having more joy and more kind of free space in my life is time. I used not to track my time at all, and when I didn't do that, it was so easy for me to waste a lot of my time. It was so easy for me to go days, weeks, months without accomplishing what it was that I was saying I wanted to accomplish, or without reaching a lot of my goals. Why? Because it was so easy for me. I don't know about you, but like it is so easy to get lost scrolling our timelines on social media, right? You could be doing that aimlessly. Like I know I used to do that a lot. Sometimes I can still catch myself doing that now if I'm not tracking my time. Really like aimlessly scrolling through social media. Or the other way that I used to really lose track of time or waste my time a lot was, for example, tell me if this happens to you at all. For example, when I'm doing a certain task or when I'm doing a certain work or focusing on something, and then my phone will ring, then I'll drop everything and then get on that phone. The thing is, I'll get on that phone call. The thing is, that phone call, that interruption alone, if you are like me, a lot of the times for me to get focused, to get, okay, my 100% focus on a task that I'm accomplishing, it takes a little bit of time. But then once it gets interrupted, once my focus gets interrupted, it takes actually a lot more time to get back on focus. So those are some of the things that used to break up my time or suck up a lot of my time before. Like even now, if I don't pay attention, if I don't track my time, I can easily get lost into this. Things like even doing laundry, for example. If I give myself if I say, okay, I'm going to do laundry for just 1 hour, I'm going to allocate 1 hour for doing laundry or folding my clothes, or 2 hours, but I know exactly how long it's going to take me, and I'll time it. I'll put the timer on and I'll track. And if the time is over and unless there's only a little bit left, then I drop it and then I'll come back to it later, because I break up my time, my day, into tasks that I am going to be doing. In the past, how I used to do it, I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to do laundry today. And I could literally spend the whole day folding clothes, because I can get distracted here and there, and then really scatter my energy and scatter my focus and not get it done. So that's one thing that I track now that has made a huge difference, is tracking my time, giving myself a certain time frame for doing certain tasks and getting them done. Also, the other thing that it allows me to do is have more space in my time. I used to feel like I needed to run for every single thing. I was always on the run for something, like really chased by time, if that's the way to say it. Almost feels very suffocating, really. When I started giving myself more space in my time for simple things like like going hiking with my friend, or going for a bike ride, or things that really fuel me, right? Being in nature and stuff like that. When I started doing that, I noticed and I realized that it was actually much easier for me to make a client. So the very first time I really noticed this in a big way was when at the time I wasn't making time for like simple things in life. I wasn't making time. Like I was working all the time. I always felt like I needed to be on my computer. Funny enough, even though I was on my computer working so hard, because my time wasn't very focused a lot. I was distracted a lot. Even though I was doing so much, I was actually accomplishing much less than I am now when I have the focus time, right? And I remember I went that week. I had worked all week, setting up sales pages here and all these things here and there, doing webinars here and like Facebook lives and stuff like that here and there. And then that weekend I decided, you know what, enough. I'm just going to leave everything alone, and I'm just going to breathe and give myself space in my time. And I went for a bike ride. That was the first time I experienced this in a big way. I went for a bike ride with my friend Julie. And when I went for a bike ride, I wasn't thinking about work. I wasn't thinking about business. I wasn't thinking about anything like that. And I came back and I opened my phone to check my emails before I got on the road, and I got sales. I got, out of nowhere, thousands of dollars worth of sale. And I was like, oh my God. Yeah, that was a pretty awesome. Anyways, time. Time was the first thing that I track now. Time is such an important part, I find, of manifestation, because for us to manifest, we kind of have to focus our energy on certain, especially when it comes to business, I find. All right. So the second thing that I track nowadays that makes a huge difference in my ability to create more joy and more abundance and stuff like that in my life is something that I haven't always tracked. I've done it without tracking it, and then I didn't do it for a while, and now I'm back to doing it. But now, because I feel it's so important, that I'm actually tracking it on a regular basis, on a daily basis. What is it? It's my workout, specifically weight training, strength trainings. Why? Because our bodies, right? I find this more and more. The more I'm doing these like energetic practices, the more I find that our body is really the foundation of everything. And our muscular strength, right? The strength in our body plays such a huge role in our ability to circulate energy, in our ability to accumulate energy. That alone, I find, is not enough, which will bring me to the third thing that I track in a minute. But that is the foundation. I find the stronger we are in our body, the more stamina we have, the better we can breathe, the more fluid we can feel in our body, and so on and so forth. So I have found that it is very important. So I am now tracking. So I'm making sure that at least 5 times a week I do some strength training exercises. Plus, I'm now 44 years old. Menopause is probably knocking at the door by now, and I know that muscle strength is very important in our ability to really carry through this transition time, if we want to call it that way. So that's the second thing that I'm tracking nowadays in my life for more abundance, for more joy, because strength in my body gives me more stamina, gives me better energy circulation in my body, and also it helps with better energy accumulation in my body. Why? Because it helps me when I'm holding the postures for energy accumulation. It helps me actually hold them longer, and it also helps me accumulate much faster. So that was number 2. Now, the third thing that I make sure that I track in my life, definitely creates more abundance in my life, more joy, definitely more joy in my life, is what? Energy training and mindset work. Energy training and mindset work. I put them together because for me, in my mind, it is actually the exact same thing. You cannot, in my mind, for me, I do not separate both of them. Why do I do energy trainings, and why do they play such a big role in our ability, my ability to manifest, my ability to attract what it is that I focus my mind, or what it is that I choose that I want to create, right? A lot of the times when we choose to create something, especially if it's something that we haven't created before, it is easy to start doubting ourselves. It's easy to get in that space where we might feel maybe like a little bit isolated, or we might feel like, oh, maybe this is not possible for me, or we might not feel like focused enough, or we might feel like maybe we're taking all these actions, but we are not getting results. All this is so related. I wish everybody knew this is so related to energetic condition in our body. So let's say, for example, and I used to experience this all the time, and still now, if I feel depleted, I experience it also. There are two things that happen when it comes to intentional creation, especially for business creation, for example, or getting clients in business and stuff like that, or every other thing for that matter. The way I look at it, there is two ways. There's two things that have to come into play, right? First, our energy, literally like our ability to be magnetic to the things that we are asking for, and it is related to energetic condition in our body, and our ability to focus our mind on what it is that we are asking to create or asking to receive. Basically, what that means is that focus energy towards our goals and our vision will make that happen. But if we don't have enough of that energy in our body, it is so hard. That's when in the past, and again, still when I'm depleted now, when I'm depleted of my magnetic energy, even though I may be taking action, right? You may be in the space where you feel like you're doing this, you're doing that, but you don't get results. It's so related to that quite often, that we are depleted of energy. So these energy exercises or these energy trainings that I do on a regular basis, I actually don't have to track them that much anymore because it has become quite a habit of mine. It's one of the first things that I do when I wake up on a regular basis. Of course, sometimes I may get lazy. Hey, that happens. But on a regular basis, I do these exercises because when I do them, it helps me awaken the brightest part of who I am. It helps me awaken and get in touch and feel that part of who I am that knows that anything is possible, that I have strength within me, that I have brightness within me, that I can go for my dreams. And when I feel hopeless, I can find hope from that space. When I feel like I am weak, I can find strength from that space. When I feel like I don't have the strength to go one more step, I can find the strength there to go one more step. And so by doing that over and over again, I have been able to really utilize that, right? Utilize that, that really, it's given to all of us. It's really a matter of tapping into it, that magical strength to create and keep going and keep creating and keep accomplishing and keep expanding in my life and in my business. And the more I really cultivate that brightest part of who I am, the more joyful I am, the more grounded I am, the more peaceful I am, the more accepting I am in my life. Anyway, so that's the first part. The second part is when I say mindset work, I really mean like the things that I do to really direct my energy towards what I want to create in my life. It could be journaling, it could be looking at now my vision board. It could be several things that I do to get my mind to the space where my energy is literally flowing towards the things that I want to accomplish in my life, as opposed to my energy being leaked and going towards me worrying about the things that I do not want to create, me worrying about the things that maybe may have happened in the past, obsessing about the things that I'm so afraid of, which means that when we are in that space, our energy is literally moving towards everything that we so afraid to create, everything that we so worried to create, and we end up creating that, which is why for me it is so vital. My energy trainings are so vital because they bring me into the space where I can, like be more centered, be more anchored, where my mind can be focused on the things that I want to create, as opposed to mindlessly being sucked into things that I do not want to create. That's how we can keep creating over and over what we are focusing on. So that was number 3. So the fourth thing that I track in my life that brings me more abundance, it also brings me more joy. I used not to be able to even say that because of all the nuances, all the limiting beliefs that we have around this. It is money, right? It is money. I don't know about you, but I feel like in our society, and I don't know where you grew up, but I feel like there's something about money that feels very icky to some people, not everybody. But the way that I personally grew up, money was kind of like a weird subject, right? I know that growing up, the subject of money, we didn't talk about that a lot in our house, not necessarily. But I knew that I associated money with power. I definitely associated money with power. And going to church, I remember I've shared this maybe if you've seen another video of me, I've shared this where I remembered a time when I was in church kneeling down and praying to God, God, only give me as much as I need, because I feel like if I have too much money, then my soul will be corrupt. Then my soul will be corrupt. And that really came from everything that I had soaked in from my environment. That really came from the information that I soaked in, or in my environment, or maybe just my interpretation of things around money. But like afterwards, like literally, I carried that my whole entire life. Even the subject of tracking money for me was filled with anxiety. And so for the longest time, I tried to avoid tracking. I tried to avoid looking at it at all costs, actually, like pretend like it doesn't exist. But then I'm spending money, and you can imagine what kind of chaos that will create. But now what I know is what we can track, what we track, we can grow. What we focus on, we can grow. And when I say tracking, I really mean tracking not with the anxious mind, oh my God. I mean tracking with gratitude. So if I'm in this space where I feel like, oh, I'm so worried about looking at my bank account, one of the things that I can simply do before I even go look at my bank account is do energy exercises, energy training to center myself. Because a lot of the times, in my own experience, has been that a lot of the times that we may associate the amount of money that we have in our bank account with our own value, but it has nothing to do with our own value. Our true value, we can feel that from within. It doesn't, it doesn't come from our bank account. It doesn't come from the lack of money in our bank account. It doesn't come from the abundance of money in our bank account. Right. And so for me, again, I'll keep coming back to energy trainings. That helps me a lot. Feel centered. And if I can't feel abundant while opening it, at least I can remove emotions out of looking at my money, looking at my bank account. At least I can also be grateful for the mere fact that I even have a bank account, because that is actually something to be grateful for. All right, so that was The fourth thing that I track in my life to create more joy and more abundance and more fulfillment, right? Not that fulfillment has anything to do with money. Not that joy has anything to do with money. Not that our value has anything to do with money. But what I find is that if we have stress with money, if we are stressing about money, it definitely can weigh on our ability to freely connect with our brightest self, right? So, but when we can release that, it's just a thing, and we can grow that. We can decide what we want to do with our money. We get to choose, right? What is the most valuable? What are the most valuable things for us in our life to spend our money on, right? Without money, for me personally, without money, I wouldn't have been able to do a lot of energy trainings that I have done that have really helped me grow emotionally, grow spiritually in my life. The last thing that I track in my life that brings me more joy, it brings me more abundance. You may not think of it that way, but oh my God, it makes such a big difference. What am I talking about? In some areas of the world, they call it the source of life. It's water. It is water. I am guilty. I have been guilty of not drinking a lot of water, enough water in my lifetime, right? As a matter of fact, if I'm not tracking my water intake consciously, it is so easy. For me, it is so easy to go around without drinking enough water. It is so easy for me to not drink enough water. But what I know now is that, oh my God, it is, I talked about energy accumulation earlier. I talked about how that plays a big role. It also has a lot to do with our organs, right? Kidneys, for example, has a lot of things to do with our kidneys. And like in body and brain like trainings, we talk about water up, fire down, for energy balance in the body. And without water, I feel energy doesn't circulate well in my body. Sometimes without water, really, I can feel headaches. I can feel way too much energy in my head. I can feel a lot of stagnant energy in my body. I'm sure there is a science behind this. I'm sharing my own experience with you. And so when there's a lot of stagnant energy in my body, when there is too much energy up in my head, right? When I have headaches and stuff like that, it's very hard for me to focus. And I can easily find myself very much depleted of energy. I can easily find myself where I feel very constipated, right? Where like my gut is very, very tight, which means I'm leaking energy all over the place, which means if I keep at it, I'm going to feel very, very, very drained. Which is why now I'm making it a conscious choice and conscious intention to drink a lot of water, to drink enough water in my life. So that's it. Those are all the 5 things that I wanted to share with you that I track. When I say I track, actually that makes a huge difference. I can say to myself, hey, I'm going to drink a lot of water with all the intentions, good intentions in the world. But if I'm not tracking it, it's very, very easy to lose track, right? Same thing with money, right? Same thing with money. We may say to ourselves, hey, I'm going to create this amount of money or manifest this amount of money in my life or in my business this month. But then if we don't like maybe divide it in daily focus, right? Divide it on, oh, today I'm going to focus on creating this amount of money, and then at the end of the month, it will all add up to this amount of money. If we don't do that, we can easily forget that we said we were going to create this, right? Even though we may be taking action because our mind is not on it. And then by week 3, we're like, wait a minute, I said I was going to create this much. I haven't even created one time yet. What am I going to do? And then we feel pressed. And then by that time, it might be a little bit too late. It's never too late, of course, but it's so much easier to do it, focus on a daily basis. For me, same thing with energy trainings. For me, same thing with my workout, my strength training. Same thing with tracking my time. So this is what I wanted to share with you today in this video. Share with me below, where do you recognize yourself that maybe you need a little more improvement, or you need more focus or more tracking? In which area do you find yourself, or in which area are you really, really, really good? And when you are really, really good in that area, what happens? What have you observed? Share with me in the comments below. That's it. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.